What's up, Guardians? My name is Winter, and I've been playing Destiny since 2014 back on my PS3. The game has been so important to me that I've even gone so far to getting the ghost tattooed on my arm. However, I've seen this video come around in circulation for Aztecross, or Cross, for however you people want to call him, his video on the microtransactions of Destiny. I want to give my honest opinion on it, honest reaction to it, and let you guys know what I think this means for Destiny in the future. Let's hop right into it.
October 13th, we'll see the return of Test to the Tower. Silver is a new currency coming to Destiny that is bought with real money. This is the introduction of microtransactions into Destiny, but I've never had a problem with cosmetic microtransactions. A lot of people will now mention the slippery slope argument. Yes, Dado, we start with shaders, emblems, emotes, but who is to say that they won't introduce materials, armor, or weapons in the future?
I have some issues with exactly what he's mentioning right now, what Dado is mentioning, or Dado, however you guys want to call it, however you guys pronounce it. I get it. Weapons make sense. You can get the weapons through regular seasonal activities. However, this season there is a god roll weapon in the season pass, a bit of an issue. The next thing is those deep sight harmonizers that allow you to craft weapons without even needing to do the grind for them, outside of, you know, doing your level up grind to make them god rolls and whatnot. But he's got a point, and this video is 7 years old. God.
If we see legendary guns for sale, if we see legendary marks for sale, I'm gonna be mad. If we see something like 100 motes of light for $5, I'm gonna be mad. I don't want to see power sold. I don't want to see shortcuts to power sold. Nothing. I don't want to see weapon parts, ammo synths, nothing. If Bungie does cross that line, you have my rage.
Present day.
Guys, I hate to say it, but now may be the time to start raging. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, no, this is not a joke video. When it comes to greedy corporate monetization practices, to us, this is really not a laughing matter. Those clips you just watched are from a 7-year-old video Dado posted in Destiny 1 about a month after the release of The Taken King, and my god, it has aged like fine wine. Today, we'll be talking about the state of microtransactions inside of Destiny 2, because over the last several years, and increasingly this past year, we have seen a dramatic increase in monetization for anything and everything Bungie can slap behind a paywall. This includes raising prices, creating new avenues for spending, double dipping into the existing player base, and giving players blatant pay-to-win benefits. Now, here are the timestamps on the screen for each topic covered in this video. This is going to be a long one, so grab your popcorn. And one thing I ask before you leave a comment criticizing or even defending Bungie, please watch this video in its entirety. We're going to cover a lot of ground today because I want all of us here to have a full perspective on how bad microtransactions have become over the past 7 years. And maybe by the end of this video, when all Bungie schemes are on the table, you will share my concern for what this game may look like 7 years in the future.
Let's get into it. Free to play. I got some opinions on the free to play thing. Free to play to me is not the term we should be using for Destiny. Right off the bat, before we get into his whole description on what all of this means, Destiny is a free to try game. You're free to try it. Pick up the DLC when you want. Don't worry about like all of this buying DLC. Find what you want to play and then work your way into the DLC over time. You're locked in behind only being able to run specific content. You don't really even get a campaign with the free to play game. This is free to try. It's like a trial run. You get to play Crucible, you get to run some strikes, you can run King's Fall, Vault of Glass, the Prophecy Dungeon. Like, there's a decent amount of content you can run, but eventually it's just going to be a grind session on that. Pick up, once you get through that, right, save $5 a week if you have $5 a week, and update to buying DLC over time. Maybe this will get into what DLC you should buy. I can also help you guys explain or help get through that situation as well, but let's hop into it.
Now, first off, I want to set the record straight. Destiny 2 is not a free-to-play game. It's a free-to-try game. It's very important we are all on the same page here, because this is the most common justification for the use of microtransactions across the industry, and the biggest illusion Bungie tries to spin in their marketing. Microtransactions in real free-to-play content makes perfect sense. If you're not paying to purchase the actual software, then the developers are completely justified in generating revenue using other means. Usually, this is just in the form of cosmetic items that players purchase just for digital fashion, fun, or even clout. But developers can also use more shady techniques like loot boxes, bonuses, or even additional content to persuade players to spend more money. With that being said, Destiny, even after becoming free-to-play in 2019, has never actually been free-to-play. Matter of fact, Sweatcicle even made a video a couple weeks ago documenting the experience of a free-to-play player in Destiny, which I highly recommend giving a watch. In a nutshell, after completing the introduction quests and missions, free-to-play players can access Strikes, Crucible, Gambit, the Prophecy Dungeon, Vault of Glass, King's Fall, Open World, and Dares of Eternity. On the surface, that actually seems like a decent amount of free content, but is it actually? Compared to the massive amount of content in Destiny, this is just a fraction of what the majority of players have access to. You don't even get a campaign in free-to-play. You get rituals, quests, and a couple.
And you can't even do the pinnacle grind at that point unless the pinnacle stuff ends up being King's Fall, Vault of Glass, and Prophecy as your dungeon. But that happens so rarely. There's so many other content, so many other pieces of content to grind. You might not get that.
Couple of high-end activities. Let's compare this to some other free-to-play games, shall we? Starting with arguably the most popular free-to-play game, Fortnite. There are plenty of microtransactions in Fortnite, but all of them are strictly for cosmetics. Even the seasonal battle pass, which you can pay for, is earnable via just playing the game. Granted, that would take a while. The free version of the battle pass gives you V-Bucks that you can save up to buy the paid version. And as long as you play enough,
maybe Bungie needs to add silver to their battle pass. If they added silver, you could use it to buy the upgraded version, making it a little more fair for players, for new players. Or if they added silver, you could use that silver to buy the DLC or your dungeon keys or anything like that. It might be the best option to move forward with their microtransactions to kind of ease the funds, especially for those of us that are, or for those that are getting into the game and they don't have a job. They have to ask their parents every week, but I want to play the new raid that comes out. There's a new DLC. Well, isn't that game 7 years old? Yes, but they update it every year. Maybe they just, I think they just need to add silver, 100%. Just add silver to your battle pass might ease the pain of having to actually have funds to play your game.
To complete the battle pass each season, you can earn enough to repurchase it again next season. 100% completely free. There's even some currency left over you can choose to save or even spend in the shop if you want to buy some cosmetics. Next up, we have Warframe. Yes, I know comparing Destiny and Warframe is kind of a touchy subject, but Warframe is
a lot of people have been like, play Warframe.
The Nightweave battle pass is completely free. The updates are free, and you can earn the paid currency in the game's player-driven market. So it too is essentially free. Now, these are just two prime examples, and I could dive into more, but I think you get the point. These games grant you access to all the actual gameplay content for free. In Destiny, you get maybe 10% of the content for free, which means this is not exactly free to play. That's a free trial. Destiny is by no means the first to do it though. Remember the light versions of apps back in the early days of iPhone? Every major game had a free light version, essentially a demo. Angry Birds Lite, Minecraft Lite, Light Bike Lite. I don't have a problem with free trials, but free trial and free to play.
Maybe they just need to call Destiny New Light, L-I-T-E, instead of L-I-G-H-T. It's just Destiny New Light. I don't know.
Have been commingled so much that
it
players can't differentiate between the two. Another common trait of free trials is that they're full of ads. As a new light player, the number of pop-ups you receive in game telling you to buy more content is ludicrous. Don't be fooled. Bungie offers a free trial of Destiny 2, and if you want to play the full version, you have to pay money.
Big time.
Lots of money.
Okay. House of Wealth. I love that.
Now, Destiny 2 has a lot of paid content, but quite frankly, it's confusing as hell.
Before we get too far into it, okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove my camera for half a second. Before we get far into it, if you're wanting to play Destiny, wait for a sale to happen. 100%. These prices are insane. Like, some of this stuff is a few years old. Shouldn't be paying $24 for Shadowkeep. You don't really need Shadowkeep. Like, it's cool. Story's great. But if you're wanting to get into Destiny, my strongest recommendation, start off with the Legacy Collection. But if we look at this Legacy Collection, it includes Witch Queen, Beyond Light, and Shadowkeep. It includes 3 years of DLC content. And right now, It's sitting at $23.99, saving you 60%. Just something to think about while you look at it. All of these prices are really cheap right now.
You got the Lightfall plus annual pass, or Lightfall by
Which was sitting
itself,
at
the
60.
Legacy Collection, which includes Witch Queen, Beyond Light, and Shadowkeep. The 30th Anniversary Pack, Witch Queen, Beyond Light separately, as well as Shadowkeep separately. The Forsaken Pack, and
Just
the
buy the
Armory
Legacy
Collection,
Pack.
which includes both Forsaken and the 30th Anniversary Pack. There's so many different bundles for old content that, quite frankly, this is absurd. I have so many people that come into the stream that ask, which one do I buy? And quite frankly, how in the hell is someone new to the game supposed to navigate all of this? Now here's a novel idea. Why don't Bungie just bundle everything? Literally, just
Big
the
time.
everything bundle. All content through the year of Lightfall, or the Lightfall plus annual pass, or legacy content bundle, which includes all those old things that tends to confuse the piss out of everyone. Now, if you need to itemize old expansions for players who want to purchase a single piece of content, that's fine. But even this list is already so much simpler than what Bungie already offers. Then you may be
100%.
asking, why does this not exist already? Spoiler alert, there's no singular bundle
They wanna make
for
money
all
for
of
it.
old Destiny content because Bungie refuses to improve the new player experience
I see.
for the sake of decreased revenue. If they care more about the player base than the extra cash, they would bundle all the old content under one single legacy content bundle instead of nickel and diming new players. Now, why is the Forsaken Pack, a bundle containing a raid, a dungeon, and some exotic weapons and armor, still even a thing? It also used to contain 9 supers for each light subclass as well, and those were added into free-to-play because locking supers behind paywalls was stupid, and what remains is what new players are still paying for. Now, why was the 30th anniversary update even a separate paid add-on in the first place? Remember when Bungie updated the game with cool content for free? Some new players might not remember, but the April
Way back
update
in Destiny
1 was a free update to the game that increased light level, added a new story mission, quests, revamps of old strikes, updates to the Prison of Elders, chroma gear for custom armor glows, a new taken set of armor, reprised exotics, and legendary weapons. All of this for free. It was like a mini expansion that we got as a gift from Bungie. Fast forward a year ago, if you didn't pre-order the deluxe edition of Witch Queen, you had to dish out $25 to get access to things like the Grasp of Avarice dungeon, Galahorn, and a bunch of cosmetics. Yes, there were parts of this update that were free, like Dares of Eternity, which is a completely new activity, and I understand that a lot of developer work went into creating these, but I bring this up to draw a comparison of how things used to be 7 years ago. The reality is, if the 30th anniversary update was released in Destiny 1, we would have received it completely free.
Good point. Dungeon keys. Dungeon keys are a problem right now. They're like $20 to get dungeon keys. Include it in the season pass. That's all. Season pass would be purchased more too. I guarantee it. If somebody just made it a part of that.
Now, the 30th anniversary update was also the tipping point that introduced dungeon keys to Destiny 2. These have got to be one of the most divisive double-dipping additions to the game ever
100%.
made. For those of you who don't know, dungeon keys were added in the Witch Queen. Bungie releases 2 dungeons each year, and if you don't buy the deluxe edition, that being the expansion plus annual pass, you also have to buy these separately. Both dungeons are sold together for 2,000 silver. This is Bungie's
$20.
in-game currency, which equates to $20. No longer are dungeons included in seasonal content, which made a lot of us scratch our heads asking, what the hell, Bungie? This only makes paying for content more confusing, and we know it to be a fact from first-hand experience. One of our part-time editors bought Season of the Deep to play the dungeon and didn't realize Ghost of the Deep was not included in Season of the Deep, meaning he had to go buy the dungeon key after buying the season to play what he actually wanted to play. If one
Makes
of us
it
can
like
make that
$30.
mistake, how much easier is it for a new player who has never played
32.
Destiny to make that mistake as well? The title for the dungeon trailer on YouTube even suggests that it's included with the Season of the Deep. You will only find out otherwise if you read through Bungie's website, or visit the activity directly, or visit the last page in the Eververse store, which we know a decent portion of new players will not know how to do.
Does that include both though? So it's $20 for 2 dungeons. It's still $10 a dungeon. They just kind of bundled it together as a yearly pass.
Find out otherwise if you read through Bungie's website, or visit the activity directly, or visit the last page in the Eververse store, which we know a decent portion of new players will not know how to do.
I'm not justifying it. I'm just making sure that's known. Season price.
Okay,
Season
so
price is
dungeons
expensive
no
now. It's
longer
like 12
ship
bucks.
alongside seasonal content. Surely the price of seasons deserve to be lower, right? No. Bungie raised the price of seasonal content. If you want to buy a season by itself, it used to cost only $10. And honestly, for 6 weeks of story, some cool cutscenes, access to the multiplayer activities and new gear,
Inflation
I
would kind of,
argue that
I
it was a
assume,
great
make an
deal.
issue
But
on
then
that.
Bungie increased the price. And you know what? Fair enough. Adjust for inflation. Gotta put food on the table. It makes sense.
The only thing, like, if Bungie can prove to me that somehow they are using that money to work on dedicated Destiny 2 servers, that'd be great. We know they're working on them for Marathon. We don't need Destiny to fund Marathon. Obviously, it is, because this is what they've been working on for so long. But give servers to Destiny. Somehow make it work. You know, and we know that they're working on adding all of the sunsetted content back, maybe. Rumor, allegedly. Be fucking rad, though, dude.
Bungie announced in a tweet they were increasing the price of seasons from 1,000 silver to 1,200 silver, which puts us at $10 a season to now $12 per season. Or does it? You see, when you buy silver, Bungie gives you
gotta
a
buy
little
it for
extra
15
for each purchase. And the bigger the purchase, the more extra you get. So when you buy $10 worth of silver, that being 1,000, you actually get 1,100 silver. That's so generous of them. Funny how that works too, because that's just short of the amount needed to buy a new expansion. So to buy an individual season, you need to purchase $15 worth of silver, not 12.
Giving them
meaning
$5
Bungie actually
extra.
raised the price by $5 because you can't buy seasons with real money. You have to buy them with Bungie's tokens. They're fake money. Now I'm surprised too, considering how cluttered the Steam store is already with expansions, which by the way, you can buy with real money. Why not just add each season there too? Make an annual season pack. Hell, folks are already confused. You might as well add it. Something tells me we won't ever see a $12 silver purchase option anytime soon. Luckily, Bungie added the $15 option right before Season of the Deep, and even created a $100 silver purchase option too. So if you want to bankroll the pockets even more, that's a lot easier for you. And guess what? You thought a $5 increase was bad? Let's take a trip down to the Microsoft and Epic Game Store, where there is no $15 silver option. The next highest is $20. You're now paying Bungie double the price for a new season. Guys, that's just borderline evil. Thankfully, any players who use these platforms are not completely screwed. Bungie does offer a $15 seasonal silver bundle as well, but not only is it separate from the other silver purchase options, it also doesn't advertise how much silver it gives. You actually have to click into it to see how much silver you are buying. But almost. Hey, it comes with a free emote. Am I right? I do want to be clear. I'm not against silver existing or people buying silver. I've bought plenty of silver. I'll even meet Bungie halfway. I'm not against paying $12 for a season, but it's these shady, scummy, underhanded tactics that Bungie keeps using that pisses me off. Bungie, if you're gonna raise the price of a season to $15, at least have the balls to just tell us straight. I shouldn't need to perform mental gymnastics to decipher a change in pricing structure like it's a day one raid encounter. It's not the price increase that rubs me wrong. It's how Bungie intentionally designed it to siphon more money while deceiving the community into thinking it was less.
It's got a good point there. Events drive me wild. Okay, these event card things, like we need to discuss event cards. Event cards are cool because they show you like loot and stuff, but there's no reason for them to have like a paid aspect that only gives you 4 extra cosmetics. And I'm pretty sure it's like $20 to do the event card upgrade. What?
All right, this whole video has been pretty tame up until now. That's all going to change when we talk about seasonal events and event cards. Event cards are the singular worst paid item ever added to Destiny. Last year, Bungie had the idea to add event cards to Destiny. These are filled with event challenges that grant you materials, event cosmetics, weapons, etc. This card was introduced as Bungie's solution to simplify in-game events, making it easier for players to reference what they needed
the quest tab made more sense.
Rewards and complete the event title. Their solution: plaster a giant pay to unlock button on the front of the event card to earn more rewards. You heard me right. You have to pay 1,000 silver, $10, for the privilege of completing challenges so you can earn these extra rewards. It's essentially a mini
for 4 more cosmetics
that is already inside of a seasonal battle pass model. If you don't complete the challenges, you don't get any rewards. And even worse, players often don't know that it only gives you 4 cosmetics. All the others on the card are free. This microtransaction section is positioned strategically, where all players interact with event challenges. Because if you don't buy it immediately, Bungie wants you to stare at it for 3 weeks. Why?
The next thing that I got problems with with events, like it's not that big of an event. Hold on. It's not that big of an issue. But events and other things that Destiny does, that Bungie does, is they monetize on our achievements. This is the display that you got for completing Season of the Seraph that you had to purchase, which I get. It's cool. It shows that I did it. What does this do now? It sits on my bookshelf. Why? Because it's fucking cool. I got no problem paying for stuff. They're just monetizing on my achievements in game. And they do the same thing with event cards. If you complete your event card and you've spent the $10 to upgrade it as the premium one, you then have the $10 less. Also, Bungie won't accept my card for some reason. I have to use my wife's and then I have to pay her for it. It's wild to me. But absolutely insane. Just insanity. The idea of event cards. I hate them.
While you finish all your other challenges, slowly seducing you to part with $10 for a couple extra cosmetics. But Cross, it's only cosmetics. What's the big deal? That is the big deal. Events in Destiny 2 are only about cosmetics, and over 90% of the cosmetics you have to pay for. Surprise! Just like dungeons, seasonal events are not included in your seasonal pass purchase. You want to know why everyone thinks events are boring? It's because they are rehashed every year, and they revolve around spending money. Every new armor set, $10. New emotes, $10. Ghost shells, ghost projections, finishers, the list goes on. Money, money, money. It's so bad that Festival of the Lost has eternally been dubbed Festival of the Costs.
I can't even imagine. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you the last time I played a Festival of the Lost. Unfortunately, I missed out on the dinosaurs one, and I missed out on the Gundam themed one. Those were the two ones that I was most excited for. I just was playing other games at the time. And usually every time an event comes around, I'm kind of bored with Destiny at that time, and I play something else. It's weird.
Want to participate in events where I get one gun and have nothing else meaningful to work towards. Normally I have zero problem with paying for cosmetics because cosmetics are just the extra cherry on top. I already pay for my content, and if I want to spend a little more, that's my choice. The problem with events is the cosmetics are the content. It's all over the marketing. It's in the silver shop. It's on my event challenge card. Events became unfun a long time ago because the content came second to the cosmetics. Yes, it is possible for cosmetic microtransactions to ruin video games. Just look at Halo Infinite. Part of the reason why it was received so poorly, beside the lack of co-op and mediocre campaign, was because all avenues of customization were locked behind paywalls. This was always one of Halo's greatest strengths. The Master Chief Collection on Steam still has free live service seasonal content. You purchase the game once, get to play some of the best games ever made by Bungie and 343, and visual progression is alive and well, unhindered by microtransaction hell. Best $40 I've ever spent. Even less when it goes on sale. Events have become just another way, though, to squeeze more money and double dip into the player base in preparation for the next season, and it just keeps getting worse. Is Bungie in the moral wrong for promoting more cosmetics during an event? No. Do I have the right to call events in Destiny boring and being mid as hell? Because there is little to no loot tied to them that you can actually earn. Yes, we do have that right. And because events are quote-unquote free to all players, there is zero monetary incentive for Bungie to spend time on anything more than creating the most attractive Destiny shopping mall for 3 weeks. I would love for Bungie to prove me wrong on this one, because I like the idea of events. They're supposed to be fun, but there's nothing fun to do during those 3 weeks unless you like spending more money. The way you fix events in Destiny is by investing in the player experience. Supremacing during Guardian games is a great first step, but that existed as a base game.
Yeah, it was a rehash.
So we really can't give brownie points here for something Bungie gave back to us from 6 years ago. Provide players who don't want to spend money,
I would love Sparrow Racing League back,
for their time, and then we'll revisit this topic.
Eververse. Yep.
Now this next gripe is more of a PSA. Do I have anything against paid cosmetics existing in Destiny? No. However, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the cost for everything in Eververse store is insane. $15
Absolutely
per
crazy.
armor set. Exotic emotes can get as high as $12 each. Exotic ornaments, $6 each. And this all adds up very quickly, especially if you want to get one thing per character. The most recent price hike we've seen has been the collaboration armor sets. These started with the Epic Games collab during Season of the Plunder and have stayed consistent with every collab since. Assassin's Creed, PlayStation, all of these armor sets cost 2,000 silver each. That's
my question with these, right?
$20.
With them being 2,000 silver, $20 per se, $20 of real cash. When it's done that way, does a portion of those sales go towards the person that they collaborated with? Like, did Sony get some part of collaboration from that, or did they keep all of that? That's what I need to know. It's the important question. Like, are they sharing that revenue with the people that they collabed with? I hope so. That's the only thing, is that I hope so.
for one set of armor. All of Destiny 1's DLCs included was on sale for just $20 just a few weeks ago. There's no universe where you can convince me that 3 armor sets cost $60 total, one for each class, by the way, and somehow that is worth the same price as a AAA game. Now, will people buy them? Obviously, yes. Will Bungie make lots of money? Yeah. Are we getting ripped off? You damn right.
Yeah.
This isn't just Bungie doing this stuff. This
it's
is
a lot of other games.
Industry standard. In-game cosmetics are beyond expensive. It's your money, so spend it how you deem fit. But I figure while we're on the subject, I should make you doubly aware that everything in Eververse is very expensive and, dare I say, dramatically overpriced.
Understandable. I actually had a big thing with Bungie when they got dropped by Activision or Blizzard. When they got dropped by Blizzard, Activision, that I was like, all right, I have no problems paying them for content now because now they're their own standalone company. However, now that they're purchased by Sony, or I think purchased by Sony, there is... It's now a separate company somewhat in charge. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how that works. But Sony practically saved Bungie, and now things are more expensive. I don't know. Manipulation.
Now, Bungie is constantly devising methods to make you spend more money in-game, whether you're a hardcore player or even free-to-play. The constant scheming never ends. In addition to everything we've previously mentioned, this season, Bungie added an Eververse recommended tab to the store, so you can find offers made just for you more easily. Earlier this year, Bungie added the ability to purchase weapon ornaments on actual weapons in-game. Now, I will admit... This is convenient if you want to view what your flashy exotic would look like with a new paint job. But this is also an obvious play to reduce the distance between the player and the purchase button. You cannot preview armor ornaments with shaders before you buy them. You have to purchase the armor, then you can see if that matches your look. If any of you remember, shaders used to cost 40 bright dust from Eververse. And if you're unfamiliar with bright dust, it's an in-game currency that you can't buy, but you can only spend on specific items in the Eververse store. It's designed to keep players engaged with the store, even if they haven't spent any money, in the hopes that they will spend money in the future. Anyway, Bungie raised the price of shaders from 40 to 300 bright dust.
Oh, I did not know they
wanted to. Just another sink for bright dust, so you have less free money for armor, emotes, or anything else you want to buy. And they've also started locking shaders behind paid bundles too. And normally shaders would be frequently available for bright dust at the beginning of each season. Guys, it has been barely 3 weeks since the Season of the Deep launch at the time of this video, and no new shaders have been sold. Now, if you like ghost projections, don't take offense to what I'm about to say, but I'm of the opinion that these cosmetics solely exist to inflate the Bright Ingram loophole. You could also make the argument that this is why Bungie makes so many cosmetics to begin with. Every new season, there are at least 9 new ships, sparrows, and ghosts. These are all sold in the Eververse store each season, but a majority of players will never see or want them. I wish I could tell you how many emotes and ghost projections exist in the game as of this moment, but Bungie does not put these items in player collections. Maybe someone with access to the API might know, but your average player has no clue. Inflating the Bright Ingram loophole means...
What just happened?
the Eververse store each season. But a majority of players will never.
I think what they should do is Eververse engram focusing, similar to like the exotic focusing, where you could do 5 Eververse engrams or bright engrams. I think that's what they're called. My brain's drawing blanks on me today. You could use those to focus into specific item. That'd be cool. Give players more reason to grind. Potential to step away from the other issue in the room.
Never see or want them. I wish I could tell you how many emotes and ghost projections exist in the game as of this moment, but Bungie does not put these items in player collections. Maybe someone with access to the API might know, but your average player has no clue. Inflating the Bright Ingram loot pool means every time you level up enough to earn a Bright Ingram, you have to turn it in at the Eververse store and you get nothing of value. Further encouraging players to spend to acquire coveted cosmetics. Now, if you're a new life player, when you visit Shawhan to pick up your first quests and bounties, you are greeted with an exotic in his inventory. Except you can't collect this exotic. It's a short quest
unless you have the
only pick up
DLCs
after buying the most recent expansion. This year, it's Arbalest and requires you to buy Linefall. Last year, it was Sweet Business and required you to buy the Witch Queen. No idea if Bungie removes these weapons from the loot pool for new lights or just pretends like they are part of the new expansion content, even though both of these weapons clearly belong in free-to-play given their age. Either way, shame on you, Bungie. Not only is this baiting players who haven't even played the game yet to spend money on an expansion, but you're doing it with content that has no business being tied to these new expansions.
Pay to win. It's going to talk about deep sights for sure.
Now, what if I told you Destiny has now approached pay to win? Now, some of you may say that will never happen. Others of you may say it happened a long time ago. However, this season, definitively without a shadow of a doubt, has now pushed Destiny 2 into pay to win territory. Let me explain. In the past, we've brought up issues like character boosting. Essentially, you can pay $20 to skip the Destiny campaign and start unlocking your subclass and getting a head start on other content.
Only if you've had a character complete that campaign, though, too. Like, let's keep that in mind. You still have to play through it, but if you don't want to do the full campaign on all 3 characters, understandable.
I would make the argument that this is pay to win. In fact, we have made that argument in the past, and at the time, it was a pretty controversial subject. Another hot topic is expansion pre-order early exotic access. If you bought the Lightfall Deluxe Edition early, you unlocked Quicksilver Storm months before
and I
the
thought that was
Lightfall
an issue there.
was even released. People who bought the base version of Lightfall had to wait until Season the Deep to use this exotic, which is literally over half a year total in waiting. Now, we thought that the weapon was pretty good in PvP. We called it pay to win. More people agreed, but yet again, controversial. The problem is, many people are reluctant to call Destiny a pay to win game. This hesitancy stems from one question: what is considered winning in Destiny? If you don't know what
earning loot
even means, then
getting better loot,
win
having good gear to get better loot.
What if we classify winning in Destiny as achieving certain
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk
goals,
over him
going
there. That's my
flawless,
bad, guys.
completing a dungeon, raid, or nightfall? All of these could be considered winning because they are difficult challenges, and they reward the players who complete them with great loot. Actually, I believe we just found our answer. Winning in Destiny 2 means getting great loot, whether it's armor or weapons. Great loot is the reason why people play this game. Strip everything else away, at its core, people play Destiny so they can earn loot and use that loot to complete harder content.
Shooter.
Or enhance the content they already play, earning more great loot in the process. Owning better loot objectively gives you an advantage over other players in game. Need I mention the Immortal and Trials of Osiris or Gallahorn at multiple points in Destiny's sandbox? That's why it's called a looter shooter. Loot isn't everything Destiny has to offer, but it affects every aspect of the gameplay experience. With that in mind, we can now assign a definition of pay to win in Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is pay to win when an unfair advantage in obtaining great loot is only accessible to players who spend more money than what is essential to play Destiny 2. If you have a better definition, I would love to read your suggestions in the comments below. But as of this moment, I believe this statement encapsulates pay to win in the context of Destiny 2 or any looter shooter quite well. All right, Cross, we get it. What's your point? Over the years, Bungie has been inching closer and closer to this pay to win line. And as of Season 21, Season the Deep, they finally crossed it. Bungie opened the floodgates and are now allowing people to buy max rank for the entire season pass on day 1 of the new season. And you may be thinking,
I did not know
really,
that.
Cross, the season pass is not even pay to win. Is that right? Let's take a look, shall we? What does the Destiny season pass actually contain? Emotes, shaders, ornaments? What about XP bonuses? In-game materials. More weapon drops? Yeah, you can get those. Progression boosts? Season passes got them, fellas. Exotics? God roll legendary weapons? Every single one of those is available from the season pass, and every single one of these you can buy immediately for $100 at the beginning of a season. It didn't always used to be this way. Years ago, you couldn't even buy levels in the season pass. But then in Season Undying, Bungie had a change of heart. You can now buy them, but it has to be at the end of the season. Bungie called it a catch-up mechanic, so no one would miss out if life got in the way. And it was from that moment the downward spiral began. Soon it was available to be purchased halfway through the season, then 3 weeks into the season. Now years later, it's available day one of a new season. Quite the catch-up mechanic. You only have 3 months to complete the season pass. Better buy the ranks now before they're gone. Good news, the bundle Bungie sells for the first season pass plus first 10 ranks also went up in price. And even better news, they'll be evaluating new approaches to post-launch content in the year of Final Shade.
They'll make it more expensive.
Corporate code for another price increase to $15 next year. It all makes sense now. Why do you think Bungie added that $100 silver purchase option in Steam while simultaneously offering a new fully ranked season pass for $100? Seems awfully convenient that both these new features shipped at the same time. You know what else is strangely convenient? Deep sight activation. For those of you who are unaware, deep sight is used to grant patterns for crafted weapons in Destiny. Once you've earned 5 deep sights for a specific weapon, you can craft the perfect roll of said weapon. It is literally
which
the
I've
loot
never done.
in-game
Like, I
Destiny
just started
2.
crafting
Perfect
last night.
weapons with perfect rolls that takes lots of time to get. Deep sight activation is the ability to apply deep sight to a weapon that didn't drop with the weapon initially. This new quality of life feature was teased earlier this year and was beyond exciting because this would have been a very useful avenue for newer returning players to earn old craftable weapons that no longer drop in the roll loot pool. Imagine our dismay when Bungie announced that the new deep sight harmonizer material that is used to apply deep sight is only available on the season pass. 3 from the free track and 3 from the pay track. 6 total per season. If you want to know the math behind that, if you're new to the game, earning every weapon that no longer drops with deep sight would take you 24 seasons to get them all. We haven't even had 24 seasons in Destiny's lifespan. Now there is no method to earn these materials in game. All you can do is wait for Bungie to drip feed you with XP. Unless you don't have to wait. Let's say you want that God roll targeted redaction or that crafted Apex Predator right now. All you need to do is spend some silver. And just like that, you have enough deep sight to instantly craft any weapon you like.
Or just play the game.
You have to get it to actually drop, but that's not a problem when you can focus all the seasonal weapons at the helm and farm last switch weapons for a few hours. Purchasing deep sight application allows you to completely bypass the craftable weapon loot grind for any crafted weapon you want. And you know what's crazy? Bungie pulled this exact same stunt with armor transmog. If you want to customize your armor, it was going to be limited and extremely complicated to earn. Oh, but also you could just buy it from the Eververse store. Of course, people were angry, but Bungie was still always safe because at the end of the day, it was only cosmetic. It can't be pay to win. Deep sight application is anything but cosmetic. This new feature is now being weaponized by Bungie to implement pay to win mechanics into the season pass. Some of you may be thinking I'm overreacting. Let's listen to that data video just one more time.
A lot of people will now mention the slippery slope argument. Yes, Dado, we start with shaders, emblems, emotes, but who is to say that they won't introduce materials, armor, or weapons in the future? If we see legendary guns for sale, if we see legendary marks for sale, I'm gonna be mad. If we see something like 100 motes of light for $5, I'm gonna be mad. I don't want to see power sold, I don't want to see shortcuts to power sold, nothing. And as long as Bungie does not cross the line of cosmetic items, I think we'll be fine. If Bungie does cross that line, you have my rage.
It doesn't matter if deep sight harmonizers aren't directly purchasable from the Eververse store. It doesn't matter if in-game materials, XP bonuses, exotic ciphers, or progression boosts are contained within the vehicle we call the Season Pass, you can still purchase them. The lie Bungie tries to tell us is that these rewards are available to everyone. Therefore, purchasing it early is of no consequence. All of the deep sight harmonizers are beyond rank 50 in the Season Pass. 99.9% of the player base will not reach those ranks for weeks, if not not months. But if you have money, you could just access more loot, more rewards, more craftable godroll weapons for little to no work. What if the Immortal had been craftable this season? Everyone would have lost their minds. Just imagine if you could essentially buy a perfect PvP
It would have
weapon
been
and
nerfed
terrorize
regardless,
the Crucible with
but
it for weeks or months with little to no competition. All hell would have broken loose. This doomsday scenario is not only possible, but now it is incredibly likely. If this isn't pay to win, fellas, I don't know what is.
paying for the game. Yeah, and I mean, sure,
An
it will
argument
fund
on
other
killing
games.
the egg before it gains any traction is that Bungie is charging more money because they are making better content / another game. Don't kid yourself, guys. We know that Bungie's team for Destiny has not dramatically increased in size since the Taken King. We also know that Bungie is making a boatload of more money than they did back in Destiny 1 because more players and microtransactions exist. Yes, I think the seasonal model is better for Destiny as a live service game. Yes, I believe that microtransactions have their place in Destiny. I'm not even paying extra for seasons. I buy the deluxe edition of the game every year that has zero effect on me. But I am sick and tired of the player base getting nickeled and dimed at every turn. The constant double dipping, the never-ending increases in prices, and confusion for new players. I don't even know why we're surprised. Bungie in their GDC 2022 panel celebrated their 3-step plan for Destiny. After winning back player trust and keeping player retention high, their main focus was once again revenue. We took Bungie's side then when this controversy was blowing up, because believe it or not, we like it when Bungie's profitable. That's not a bad thing, but the pursuit of more profits came with the promise that it would be built off that foundation of player trust. Newsflash, adding pay-to-win mechanics and lying to the community destroys player trust. I am not
100%.
going to support a business model that employs these types of marketing strategies. I'm not going to pretend like this is some turning point for Destiny, a point of no return. This is not a crossroad. It's just another step along a very long road that's marching us closer and closer to microtransaction hell. As for Bungie's new game Marathon, why should I give a damn about Marathon? I'm not paying to play Marathon. I'm paying to play Destiny 2. And as a diverse player who plays PvP and PvE, I thought overall things were decent. But then I listened to a clip from Grenader Jake, who lives and breathes PvP, especially trials.
I think what Bungie touches usually turns to gold. Halo, Destiny, I bet you Marathon's gonna kill it. But do you want some real, honest feedback from me too? I think it's absolutely up that Bungie would abandon this game's PvP essentially, which is what they've done. They've made us basically no new maps in like 4 years, yet continue to make us pay hundreds of dollars a year so they can go work on their next baby. It feels like complete bullshit, dude. I feel like Destiny players have the right, especially Destiny PvP players, to be pissed. We're still spending over $100 every year to play this game. They literally abandoned us, and I feel like that's really frustrating.
And this really put things into perspective. Bungie abandoned Destiny 2 PvP for their new PvP game. Not only that, but Marathon is also getting all the bells and whistles Destiny players have been asking for a very long time. Dedicated servers, leaderboards, new maps. Only after complaining year after year, buying new expansions and seasons year after year, are PvP players finally getting some attention. More than anything else, it's just sad that this much money has been spent by this many people, and what content do they have to show for it? Almost nothing. Bungie made a promise to make the game better for all players, not just PvE players, all players. Sadly, this isn't the first time Destiny players have been abandoned before. I know a lot of you have never played or don't care about Destiny 1 these days, but 7 years ago, before Silver even existed, the Taken King Collector's Edition was sold, and it included some custom emotes and class items. Back then, these were some of the best looking armor pieces and emotes in the game. Several of our editors were young teens at the time, and being Destiny fans, they bought the Collector's Edition. Revisiting those accounts years later, practicing for the Destiny 2 King's Fall raid race, gathering footage for videos and so on, they notice they can't equip their custom Taken King items anymore. Items that they own, items that they paid for, items that Bungie would happily charge them $20 to repurchase years later are sitting in their inventory, and they can't use them. They aren't the only ones either. Forum posts dating several years back also complained about this exact issue. Bungie hasn't fixed it. Why would they? Repurchasing old content isn't new grounds for Bungie, and paying for for content just for it to be unplayable years later isn't a novel concept for them. Bungie doesn't care about their old game. Bungie only cares about their new game, the one that will make them more money, the one that gets the $3.6 billion deals, the one they can use as a vehicle to be as profitable as possible, pay to win or otherwise. That's everything. That's all I got, guys. This isn't a Bungie strike. This isn't me disowning Destiny for the rest of my life. Frankly, that will accomplish nothing. As a wise man once said, every gaming boycott is one 3-minute cinematic from being over. The final shape, Destiny's climax, is on the horizon. Microtransactions will not kill Destiny. Destiny is not on the verge of collapse. It's in fact the opposite. Destiny is making more money than ever before. It has more players than ever before, and I love that. But the terrible truth is, this success gives even more credence to these business practices. It affirms greedy behavior, and it gives Bungie a giant green light to invent new ways to take our money and devalue the player. I remember the days when you walked into a store and bought a game, and now more than ever, I find myself diving into a game and finding a store. A long time ago, when Bungie was beneath the corporate umbrella of Activision, we saw the senseless greed, the half-baked products, and we rejoiced when Bungie went solo. Little did we know, we were going out of the frying pan and into the fire. Bungie in some ways is worse than Activision ever was. If you take anything from this video, I want you to think about everything we discussed, all the actions Bungie has taken objectively, and decide for yourself, where do I draw the line? How far is too far? And remember that, because looking back, we're already well and beyond what we would have tolerated 7 years ago. I imagine 7 years from now into the future, when we have Marathon, a mobile game, and who knows, maybe even Destiny 3, I'll ask you again, where did you draw the line? And I'm almost certain Bungie will have stepped over it.
This is not going to in any way, shape, or form take me away from Destiny, right? I've started doing Destiny 2 content again regularly. However, I think it's something we can all look into, and maybe we don't need to be paying for the microtransactions. Maybe we don't need to pay for everything, but there's some things that Bungie could take away from that video, or they could listen to their community. It's their call. Ultimately, it's not going to stop me. I hope it doesn't stop you guys from playing it. But that's it for today's video. I hope you guys had a great time. If you liked the video, hit that like button down below. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see each and every single one of you among the stars. Bye, Guardians.